Hello. Welcome to my live stream. It doesn't look like there's anybody on right now, but that's okay. You can always look this up because it does get published as soon as I'm finished with it. Um, I just wanted to thank you and welcome you here. And I wanted to cover just a few things. We'll go over some current events, where we're at with Nasara Jasara. Um, an interesting video that I saw today with the possibility of a satanic portal above the White House. And Roger Stone has come out and said the only way we're going to get rid of it is to collectively everyone get together and pray. And God will shut that for us. Another thing was Wisconsin law enforcement and TrueTheVote.com are working together to track down the illegal activities regarding the 2020, you know, the big E word. Um, Also, the tribunals are still going on in Gitmo and, frankly, around the world. There's a lot of different ones going around, and I just wanted to kind of point out that a lot of us are really wanting to see the videos, at least the videos of the tribunals themselves. I don't know what the criteria is going to be for that. There's a lot of speculation on that. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens. Um, anyway, so that um, I, I wanted to go into how these monsters have been wreaking havoc with our government, with our country, not theirs, ours. Um, with their Nazi regime, and I mean, it's just been pretty terrible. So the basis of that is to go into the Bush crime family, starting with Prescott. Prescott Bush would, as everyone knows, was he liked to be called a Nazi sympathizer, but he basically was a Nazi supporter and did a lot of the Nazi um, activities in his life. He was very good friends with a lot of them. He was also very connected to them. Um, he became a U.S. Senator, and he also was very instrumental in the steel industry in Germany during World War II, where they used slave labor. And then George H.W. Bush was working for Brown Brothers and Harriman for the union banking. And it was basically a money laundering place for the Nazis, which seems to be an MO for them. And right now, Putin's been cleaning up the ones over in the Ukraine, and they're all Nazis, all of them, and it's very disturbing. We didn't really win the war, let's just put it that way. They just shipped them over here. Um, Prescott Bush was connected with a guy named Thiessen, and he had a lot of connections with DuPont, Remington, the DuPont family, the Remington family, J.P. Morgan. And in fact, they all tried to get, um, let me think of his name. I can't remember his name. Oh, General Schmedley Butler. They got him to get military together because he was very well liked in the military, and they were going to overthrow FDR and put in a fascist government. So, see, this isn't new for them. What they've been doing lately is not new for them. Um, and that was all done around 1934. It was a coup attempt, and General Smedley did it just long enough that he could find out who all was in it and then turned it over to some of the other authorities. Um, but they were still they had their hands and things up to their elbows throughout 1951. From 34 all the way up to 51. They were constantly having their assets grabbed by the government because they were doing business with the enemy, basically. Then there was a little cut in this movie. In fact, I put the link to that particular Rumble video that I was watching, so that you could watch it and you can pick up a lot more. Well, I guess you would call it deeper into the story. Um, I only have, like a half hour here, so I can't really go into the really deep parts. But there was a part where Schwarzenegger came out at the RNC speech, and did a speech for the RNC, and his talk was basically very Nazi based, and apparently Arnold's dad was a Nazi as well, and the jury's out on it, but he's been considered a Nazi as well. Now, the fascism coup was attempted by Bush, DuPont family, uh, Remington family, Morgan, J.P. Morgan, and they wanted to get 500,000 super soldiers together, and so that's why they used Schmedley Butler, general. He was very well liked by the military. He was a stand-up kinda guy, and, and it turns out that he actually did stand up for our country, and, so anyway, that was a very interesting movie, and it goes in through all of um, the times when Bush Senior was in office and how he manipulated things and what have you. And um, and then when when he was out of office and Clinton took over, um, there were a lot of things that he did behind the scenes. Another thing that George H.W. was very instrumental in fact, a lot of people think that he was actually the shooter at the grassy knoll. Um, I would not put it past him. And that thing went really deep. It's supposed to be a conspiracy theory. Everybody yells conspiracy theory when you come up with the real answer, or at least something that is much closer than the narrative that they're touting. I'm trying to my bangs, I cut them too short. Anyway, sorry about that. I hate looking at myself. Um, so anyway, I was watching that video as well earlier, and there was a lot of things there that we've all seen this stuff. Um, I was interested in all of this fascism and the coup and everything else because I remember reading a little bit about it, but this one had so much more information in it. I was really really impressed with that. And anyway, like I said, I was doing some deep diving on the JFK assassination, and the reality is that if you got in these people's way, it didn't matter. You were going to go down, and it's just like Kissinger and everybody else. I know there's always the big jokes about the Clintons and their body count and everything else. The rest of them have them too. Um, they're uh, they're just bloodthirsty. If you don't do what they want you to do, or they have something on you, um, or you have something on them, you're disposable. And that's what makes them so dangerous, is they have no conscience when it comes to that. And it's distressing, especially for like somebody like me, because I have a heart for people in general, and I also have a heart for what's right. And anyway, so I just wanted to touch on those things and give you that video. That's an amazing video. There's a lot of great information, and it kind of ties everything that's happening now to that as well. I know there's a lot of people out there who think that Putin's being a bad guy and that he's killing Ukrainians and all this other stuff. And it's not true. It's part of the narrative that I can't say the adjectives, but the media is actually spinning those yarns. And I will tell you, if you don't believe me about that, because I have a lot of friends who don't quite believe me that the media is um, just doing talking points. Uh, what they'll do is, if there's a big story, let's just say there's a big story and it has a partisan, or it's really not partisan anymore. It's more of a, you're either a patriot or a traitor, basically, is what it boils down to, especially in Washington, D.C. Um, More than half of Congress needs to be taken out and dealt with. Let's just say dealt with. And because they've all been committing crimes. Um, they've all been putting laws against us that don't apply to them. They've all been, and I won't say all, because there are a handful that have not, that actually stand up every time. I think that you can tell who the real patriots are and who the ones that aren't. Will say they're traitors, because that's what they are, and that's by their vote. And how is it going to affect the American people? They don't seem to care. What I'm really upset about right now is I'm on a fixed income. So 6 months ago, I was doing fine. I could even buy things for my house, or go out to dinner, or something of that nature. And now I'm strapped to the point where I can't do those things. Um, I'm scraping money together just to make my utilities and things like that. And I'm not the only one. I know that. I know that there are other people out there like that. And so now they're getting more money. I don't know what the ratio was, what the percentage was that they got their raise, but um, they our raise was nothing. I mean, I it was just nothing. Was not enough. That's for sure. Especially when my groceries are probably 40% more than what I was paying before, and that's the name of the game, I guess. So anyway, I digress. But these are things that are in their playbook. Basically, this is all in their playbook, and they make you hurt, they make you starve, and then people have you seen the videos in Sri Lanka? Uh, those people are kicking booty, man. They are really hitting these politicians, and rightfully so. They're starving. It's one thing for a person like me, okay, to be starving, but when you look at your children and they're starving too, that's one of those things that'll make you very angry, especially when it doesn't need to be that way. Um, so anyway, again, I just wanted to let you know that there is a playbook here that they are trying to manipulate things. And I've kind of covered that on some of the other things that when I've talked to you guys. And I just wanted to kind of let you know that I'm praying for everyone. I am. I hear stories from people and I think to myself, wow, I'm going through a rough spot here, but that is way rougher than what I've got going on. So um, it humbles me a bit. But anyhow, so um, I wish there was someone on so they could ask me questions and maybe I could answer them. I will tell you that I have been kind of busy with trying to get some more information. There's a gentleman that by the name of Christopher Story. He was a journalist. I don't remember what his birth name was, but he went by Christopher Story. And this is another um, deal with George H.W. Um, in let's see, I think it was he had some videos. Let me look here. I think I can see them here. It looks like 2010. Um, yeah, he had some videos here that um, they were videos of him talking to the Parliament in Great Britain, and he was telling them about all the corruption, and it's the same core people that are doing it all over the world. And they have money laundering operations in various areas and things like that. I know that when Prescott Bush was working with uh, what was it, United Banking or Union Banking, I think it was. Yeah, Union Banking. That was a Nazi money laundering operation, and it's not okay. At any rate, he calls out uh, quite a few people. Number one was Henry Kissinger, and um, it's been known for a very long time in certain circles that Henry Kissinger is pretends to be a nice man or a good man or a strong, lover of America and stuff like that, but it is just not the case. He is he's a Nazi war criminal. I don't know how they got him over here or why. And then he was Secretary of State. Let me think. Was that with Bush? I think it might have been, but I remember when he was Secretary of State. May have been with Reagan. At any rate, he he's not a good man at all. When the Bilderbergers, which he would always go to the Bilderbergers meetings, and Incidentally, he's 99 years old. He's almost 100, and he's still around. And I'm sure it's adrenochrome that actually does that for him because he has been known for a lot of years that he's pretty much a baby eater. Anyway, there was a journalist in Rome because the Bilderbergers were going to be just outside of Rome and they were getting ready to meet. And so he went ahead. Well, they were all getting ready to go, and this reporter that was there in Rome, he decided to do a expose. So the headlines read something like, Henry Kissinger is on his way to Rome, and so keep your children very close to you, and because everyone knows that he likes to eat them or whatever, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people took it as a joke or whatever, but it truly is not. Um, anyway, so Christopher Story calls out Henry Kissinger. He calls out the cabal um, in this probably a half hour long segment, and he is talking to them and coming up with a lot of information. And if you want to see those videos, they're on christopherstory.org. And I got that connection when I was deep diving for information on Mr. C, because I find him fascinating, and I wanted to find out more about him. And he's told stories that I've watched when he's been on Mark Z and stuff, and um, he just it's fascinating, and what he's been through is horrendous, and most of it has everything to do with George H.W. Bush. So that's how I found Christopher Story. Well, Christopher Story was poisoned apparently in 2010. I think it was in July of 2010. He died on July 14th in 2010, which is actually Bastille Day. Now, everybody was saying, well, there was some symbolism of that, and they claimed it was liver failure. Well, there's a lot of poisons that can kill your liver. So, anyway, um, I realized that was a long time ago. It was 2010. It's been a really long time, but we really lost something there because this man had courage. He was able to go up there, and I mean, he was ready to just take on the world. And I'm certain that Kissinger probably had him killed because he was blowing the whistle on him. He's not a nice man. Just not a nice man. Anyway, okay, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I'm thinking we should. I'll go ahead and I'll say a prayer. Um, we have a lot to pray about. There have been some interesting things going on. I have a shadow on my face. Makes me look more wrinkled. Anyway, there's um, some information on Nasara Jasara, and we're just waiting. People who have been doing this for a long time, a lot of years, are saying, you know what? We've never been this close. We've never been this close. And apparently, bond people have received their funding. They have them in tiers. And if you have foreign currency, you're part of tier 4B. You need to go over to Dinar Recaps and just you go all the way to the bottom of the page and that's dinar recaps, all one word, .com. And sign up for their newsletter. Um, there's a sign up at the top. You don't want that one because they do ask you for money, and it's more of a membership. If you just sign up for the newsletter, you'll get newsletters 3 times a day, and it'll give you updates on what's going on. And what was very interesting about that is when I did that, I didn't have any problems signing up or anything like that. But when I directed people over that way, they said they want money. And I said, not for the newsletter. I said, you just have to sign up for the newsletter. Just make sure that that's what you're doing. Not to say if you want to be a member, go ahead and sign up for their membership. But some people can't afford it right now, especially not right now. At any rate, so those of us that do have, I don't have a lot of foreign currency. Some people have a lot of foreign currency. But anyway, so um, you'll take that and take with you just whatever you would need to open up a bank account, proof of your home address, and things like that. Anyway, and then of course your currency. And let's see, and that could come. Uh, People are talking and they're saying it could be this week. Now, we've heard that before, but I've also heard from a lot of people that it has never, ever been this close. There's been a lot of things going on. So we may be looking at the new reset. Now, when that all happens, when Mr. C goes in and he puts those codes in, all of the derivative based loans, they all go bye bye. That means a lot of mortgages are going to go to zero. A lot of car payments, car loans are going to go to zero. Um, so you're going to be debt free. That's what Nasara Jasara is all about. It's about being treated fairly for the very first time in in our lives. Those of us who have, well, it would be everybody on the planet, actually, unless you were part of the cabal. Um, at any rate, I need a little drink here, and then I will pray. Okay. Heavenly Father, we just come before you, Lord, and lay all of the worries of the day at your feet, knowing that you are the one that has the power to change those things. Um, We just lift all of the children up to you, Lord, all of the children who have been hurt and damaged by so many things. I mean, having to wear a mask at school for almost 3 years. It's going on 3 years, Lord. That is just so wrong. Um, the vaccines for children is absolutely ridiculous, and if you are an adult, I get it. There's a lot of fear going around. Um, just do your homework before you do anything like that. Do your homework before you take your kids in. Do your homework all the way around. Just be diligent. Pray before you do it. Make sure that you have the discernment of the Lord, because that's where you're really going to find your peace. Um, I want to lift up uh, our economic state to you, God. If we could just have that RV and have everything flip over to not having the fiat currency, that would be wonderful, God. And I just want to thank you so much for every blessing that you give us, Lord, that we can go to you when we are worn out and distraught, Lord. And I just pray that everyone can take that into their heart and know that you are the one that they need to go to as soon as things look bad. I want to thank you for everything that you've given us. I praise you for every time I've been in a rough spot, you've always come through for me, God. And I just want to ask these things in Jesus' precious name. Amen. Amen and amen. And I want to thank you for being here. And I will be on tomorrow right around the same time. I'm not sure what we'll talk about. Like I said before, if there's anything that you want me to deep dive in and come up with some links and things like that, I'll try to keep the links kind of down to a dull roar because I know that you guys are busy and you could be listening to me while things are going on and what have you. Um, I just want to thank you again for showing up and being my friend. And we need to stick together and come together as a collective body that is going to fight all of this. And we can do it on a spiritual level. At any rate, you have a great rest of your day, and I'll be here tomorrow. Don't forget, thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed, and hit that bell and make sure you get all the what do you call it? The notifications. That's the word. Bye bye. You have a great day.